I don't get cocky. I don't get arrogant. I understand my value. And if I got to prove it for a minute, I'll do that. If not, I'll move on to the next.
You said stability. The words that stuck out to me is well, 2 words: unconditional love. Right? My love has conditions.
My love's definitely got conditions.
Only things that get unconditional love are women and cats.
Cats, maybe.
Men don't get unconditional love.
And I wouldn't.
I don't want to.
My wife doesn't, and it's not. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's
my
not.
love has
It's
conditions.
not. My love definitely has conditions.
I have a certain way that I would like to live my life. I want you to tell me what your way is, and if we can make this work, awesome.
Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Well, we got a great show for you guys.
We always have a great show.
A great show, amazing show. First and foremost, I'm going to take a look at Mr. Gordon's shirt real quick. Give him a peek. Give him a peek at the shirt.
I wasn't prepared to model today.
You're always prepared to model. He's like, what you want me to do? Take off my shirt? I'll take off my shirt right now. I got it tattooed on my shirt.
Our podcast on my chest.
Anyway, if you want to check out where you can buy the t-shirts, the sweatshirts, whatever else we got on there, go right down there to the link. Chris will put the link down there for you if you guys want to support and promote and help us out with the t-shirts. Plus, they fit great. They're great, made out of great material.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked.
And plus, you're going to look a lot sexier with one of them shirts on, guaranteed. I mean, he's not even sexy until he put that shirt on. Look
Boom, wear it all day, every day.
Look at him now.
I don't walk around naked no more. Well, I walk around naked. I just have a sweatshirt on.
But we got a great show, guys. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If not, you suck. Get off the... No, I'm just kidding.
No, anyway, he's right. You suck. Get off the podcast and stop teasing us. Just either subscribe or leave.
We got a great show. We're going to talk about some things that I have no idea. What are we talking about today, Mr. Gordon?
Well, I've been bouncing back and forth between the two because I recently posted a TikTok video that got a little more traction than I was expecting, and it was very...
What's your TikTok called?
That's a good question.
Oh my God, I about spit my coffee.
The best question.
I about spit my coffee all over myself. Oh my God.
It's Guided Growth LC.
Guided Growth LC. Anyway, go check it out.
So I had posted a video about relationships, and it was kind of interesting to see what people would gather out of a 47-second clip. Mm-hmm. And even though I was talking, this isn't reading through text, right? The communication was clearly one side or the other, in my opinion, based on the comments that were coming. Either people just didn't get it at all, or some people really understood.
Okay, I wish you had a few references to the comments.
I don't want to call it too many people, but basically it was, some people were like, wow, your level of self-awareness is rare. Mm-hmm. To which my response is, that's a choice. Because I don't believe that mine is rare. I just believe I make a choice.
Okay.
I choose to dive deep into myself. So self-awareness, I believe, is very important, specifically with relationships, but that goes across all platforms, right?
Yeah. Mainly with relationships with yourself.
Absolutely.
Mainly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I touched on that one in another one where we were talking in the last podcast, I believe it was 58, when we got into relationships and we were talking about it. And what surprised me the most is so many people that went to the negative space. Like, there's no women out there like that. As I'm talking about my wife being understanding about me being honest with her.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm just being honest, right?
I remember the part, yeah.
And most people respond well to it, and then the other side was very just negative. Like, no women out there are like that. How do you... And it's dudes that are posting this, so I'm laughing. Like, how do you know? Have you ever tried this?
Well, here's the thing, right?
Because if you've never tried this, then you're absolutely right. There's no women out there like that for you that are going to respond like this.
So many people say that about relationships. Some people have a negative connotation towards relationships because of past experiences. Well, here's something we talk about all the time on this show is like, if you're not who you should be, because you don't get what you want, and that's in a relationship too. You don't get what you want out of life. You get what you are. Like attracts like
every time.
If you're this type of person that and here's the thing. It's like always, I can't find a man. I can't. From the woman's perspective, men are getting dogged, right? Right. You're getting dogged across the board, and I don't care. Dog us all. I don't care. It don't affect me none, right? But men are getting dogged. Like, I can't find a good man, and there ain't no good men out here, and men are all trash and all this crap, right? That's a trending thing. But yet you see the girls, if you see the girls that are saying, you go and look at the profile. Right, I dare you. I double dog dare you.
Absolutely.
You see what I just did? Double dog. I double dog dare you to go when you see a comment like that to go check out the the female's profile that's saying that, or even the man's profile. If a man's saying women are all this and that and blah blah blah, go check out their profile, and I guarantee you'll see why. Look at the post that they're making about with the people that they're hanging out with, and you got the girls all up in the club. I can't find a good man. Well, I promise you, a good man is not in the club on a Friday night at 12 o'clock. I
actually did this. So I clicked on a few of the profiles that weren't private.
I know you did.
See,
I know you did.
Right?
I know you did, yeah.
And it's the people that were making the comments where they don't believe that there's women out there like that are the ones that are like I used to be. Straight up. I used to think that you had to get the hottest girl that all your friends wanted until you get the hot girl that all your friends want, and then you're just stressed out all the time
because your friends are
thinking that all your friends are trying to screw your girl.
Because they are.
And it's not fun, right?
And they are every time. Only time I've ever been cheated on was with one of my friends. I'm just going to put it out
I'm
there.
telling you, man, it's like everybody wants what they think someone else wants, and then they wonder why it's not working for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, well, if you want to become self-aware, start journaling, right? First and foremost, you need to write down your negative thoughts so that you can go back and validate them. For a while, I would carry a journal, just a little, like, almost like the police book, you know what I mean? Like, they got the little flip book and they're being real annoying when they're taking all your notes. So I thought, well, if these are all annoying facts, I'm going to act like the dude that's going to interrogate me, and I'm going to interrogate myself. So I'm going to get out the little police binder and I'm going to take little notes. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to validate those to see if, first and foremost, most of the things that you think aren't true. Actually, everything you think isn't true until you can validate it. That's just facts.
The scenarios in our head.
Yeah.
Or mine, personally.
Yeah.
If I was to write them down in a police journal, like you said.
Absolutely. You got to get the one with the badge.
But no, I've done this many times in my recovery where I've had to journal. I've had to write stuff down. I've literally had to write down every thought I've ever had in my early recovery. I had notebooks and notebooks full of stuff. And really, when you go back and look at any scenario that you're playing in your head, if you're anything like me, it's always negative situations, right? I'm just not I wasn't naturally a positive thinker. I wasn't a solution-based thinker. I was always living in the problem, and I was always creating scenarios that rarely came true.
So pattern recognition is the key to success in all things, I believe. If you can recognize patterns, like if you look at good stock traders, they can watch how the patterns of the world happen. Those are the people that trade on, like, I can shift a country if I want to level.
It's like Baccarat.
Because they know they can watch the patterns, right?
Yeah.
If you look, I went back. The reason I feel like my marriage is so successful today is because I went and looked at the patterns. And rather than blame all of the women that I met, the one common denominator in all the relationships is me.
Is you, yeah.
So what am I doing? And that's when things shifted. So I went back and I looked at how they start, how they would go, and what silly mistakes I would make. And I was so in love with this idea of things that I would react to these ideas before they were even real, and then wonder why I was either pushing them away or attracting the wrong person.
It's always attracting the wrong person, though.
The majority of the time.
Right.
Because I'm so in love with this idea of someone that I am completely bypassing the red flags. I'm not accepting the things that are happening, and I am going down a dark road and trying to make it okay for myself, because as an addict, I can make a dark road okay.
Get comfortable.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm comfortable with being abnormal. So I go down these roads, but the point being, if you journal, you can go back and check for patterns. You'll notice the similarity in your negative thoughts. And then if you go back to that and validate them, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'll never be successful. You got to go back and define those things. Like, what does that mean? What does that actually take a minute? If you want to become self-aware, take a minute for yourself. It's in the dang word, but no one does this because it's very uncomfortable.
I think becoming self-aware, like you said, a lot of things that are the big picture, right? I'm not good enough. I think for me, that's why I created a company called 47X, because it's a mantra, I guess, if you will, of the 47 little things in your life that can change your life or that can hinder your life. And it's little things that matter the most, as far as I'm concerned. I'm struggling with a few things right now myself. Getting in my routines again, and things that ultimately. The routine is everything for an addict in recovery, and it's for everything for a lot of people who are successful too, who find their niche in whatever area of life they want to find. It's getting in a routine. It's the habitual act of these things that make us great. But when I get off that course often, right, and I have to, it's like any other addiction in my life. If I'm not constantly aware of it, I'll veer off course very quickly and stay that way. And then it's twice as hard to get back on course. It's like going off road and then being in the terrain and trying to drive yourself back in on the street. It's rough. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I think the little things are what matter. And when you can be self-aware of what you're doing and what you're not doing, most importantly, and see how that affects your feelings of your day at the end of the day, that's huge for me. Like not getting up on when I say I want to get up, not going to this meeting, not making this on time, not going to the gym, not journaling, not writing down my list of things I want to do and the day before, and then having a checklist on those things. It's just all these little bitty things. Missing an opportunity to, when I see somebody and need to speak to them, but I avoid it, or not making the calls I want to make because I just don't feel like it because of all the compounding issues that I've had. You know what I mean? Like the compounding means I didn't complete this, so I feel bad.
Right.
And the more that happens, the less good I feel, and then the more that compounds on top of it. It's just like this. It's like this snowball effect at that point.
There is actually a psychological term for that, and it's hilarious.
Of course, it's
called the Zygarnik effect.
Zygarnik effect.
Yeah. So, and people say it differently because I don't know how that last name is pronounced, but basically, what it means is when your brain is left with something unfinished, it can't settle.
Write that.
So
down.
you've got this thing. I mean, go watch commercials. Go look at the way TVs are like actually formatted. You notice that they always go into a commercial right as they're about to do something. So you have to, your brain is going, wait. I need to see the end.
The end of an episode.
I need to see what's going on next. Like, I got to know.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube and you'll see most of the titles will stop. You won't believe what this cop did to.
Right.
To what? To me, to them, to somebody else, to my car. Like, what are you talking about? Like, when it's unfinished, we have a psychological desire to chase after it. So when you're not finishing things in your life and you wonder why everything begins to spiral,
yes, it's
because of this.
No, I that makes total sense.
And we're all wired like that.
Dude, and I don't know if you guys are, you might not know the terminology like I didn't, but that affects me so much.
The more you do it, the more it'll affect you. So if you have 6 things unfinished, there's your big problem.
Well, and then that makes you not want to do the next 6 things, right? Because you feel bad.
So you have to go back and finish and be okay with that, right? And then there are some times, like what I noticed when I was going too far on my list and leaving too many things unfinished, I had to go back and simplify it.
Simplify. Just make a smaller
Go
list.
back and get to the core.
Yeah.
When you start to veer off course, you got to get back on target. So sometimes you just got to go back to the basics. Just go back to the things that got you started, so you can get this ball rolling again.
Yeah.
Activation energy, right? The hardest thing to do is actually get it moving. Once you get it moving, you just got to keep it in motion.
It's called inertia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes more energy to get it going than it does to keep it going.
Yeah.
So if you just keep it going, and when you notice that it's starting to slow you down, get back to the basics. Remember what started this whole entire thing and go back to it, and don't punish yourself for that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's where
we're not perfect. I noticed it. Work started getting to me. Things were veering away, and I was like, what is happening to me right now? Because this isn't normal for me. And so I had to go back through my journal and look at the things that were happening, and I saw the pattern. I'm missing things. I'm allowing things to be okay with failing again too much.
Too much.
Like, it's not that I'm just failing. I'm completely quitting. Like, it's more than failure to me, because it's not like failure that I accept and grow from. It's failure that I'm like, that was okay. No, it's not.
That's it right there.
It's making it okay to fail.
That's it. And then it's just like, You know, simple things like hitting the snooze button. You know, I know you don't deal with that issue.
Nope.
It's like hitting the snooze button. The first 100 times you do it, you're kind of beat yourself up. And then the second 101 time that you do it, you're like, it's okay that I did it. I did it twice today, you know, and then it just compounds and compounds and compounds. The next thing you know, you're hitting the snooze 4 times.
If people don't understand the severity of the snooze button and why when we make it okay, just put a reminder in your phone at, say, 9 o'clock every morning to do the same thing. What you will notice after about 3 months is that you will completely ignore that.
Yeah.
And not do it anymore because it's too much repetition and you've already excused it. Because when we repeat the same patterns and we make them okay, they just become unimportant to us.
Yeah.
So my goal is always to wake up without the alarm.
I think they become unimportant to us consciously, but subconsciously they beat us up.
1000% because it's unfinished.
Yep.
Again, in the back of your mind, it's still sitting there and it's not going to go anywhere. You're not just going to forget about the things that meant something to you. If you forget about it, it didn't mean anything to you.
Agreed.
And that's technically okay because that's how you watch for patterns. But if you're not journaling these things, I don't care who you are. Unless you are the top 0.5% that have a photographic memory.
I wish.
You're going to forget. I consider myself a relatively intelligent individual that remembers a lot. And I have noticed that when I get busy, it's easy to forget.
Agreed.
So I have to go back through my journal and look for the patterns. But when I go back through my journal and look for the patterns, I can find the things that are happening and fix them. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. So if you want to become self-aware, you have to be honest with yourself. You got to keep a journal. If you can do those things and know when to check back on them, then you become more self-aware. Becoming more self-aware leads to better communication.
Oh, self-aware, I believe, is the first, and it's a lot to do with, you know, if you're not self-aware, when you become self-aware, you know who you are. You know who you are. You know what you want. You know what you don't want. When you can only do that if you're self-aware. If you're aware of who you are and what you want. And until you're self-aware and until you got yourself, and you know, I want to say until you master you. We talk about relationships. You shouldn't try to go find a relationship or be in a relationship because you are left unfinished, and then you're going to latch on to somebody or something who, and typically we're looking for somebody to fix us, right? And we don't know that. We just want to feel good around somebody, and we get around somebody and we feel good, and now we're attached to that. Now we become codependent on that, and then we become obsessed with that, and then when that leaves us because our life is a mess because we're not self-aware and we ain't mastered who we are, and then everything goes to shit after that, you know. And that's the problem we see in early recovery, and that's the problem we see. Well, I see it a lot in just typical relationships, recovery or not.
Well, that's the thing is that
everybody wants to do this, and they're not working on this. You know, I got to work on my relationship. No, first off, you need to work on you.
Yep.
You are the only problem, and hopefully, while you're working on you, it will inspire your other person to work on them.
And that's the thing, when you're self-aware, like I was in that moment with my wife, which is where so many people miss the mark.
Yeah.
That was our first date. We weren't like married for a year, and then I popped this conversation on her because something happened.
Right.
That was our first date. But because I was self-aware and honest with her, because I know so many people that are wanting to work on themselves, but they're like, what if I missed the right one? Okay, if you want to know if she's the right one, be brutally honest with her and see if she can accept it. Then you know you're on course with someone because people are only okay with the decisions they get to make on their own, not the decisions you force on them.
Well, it goes back to a lot of people. You know, you hear the phrase, you know, you were, you know, almost like fate, right? Like you have no choice in the matter. You know, like somebody was made for you. Like, you know, God designed you for me type crap, right? And I don't believe that. I believe we have a choice. I believe it's all about choice. And you know, if we got so sucked up into the idea that somebody was made for us and we got to make this work, then we're missing the mark.
Again, we became in love with that idea of something.
Yeah.
And missing the reality of it. On paper, my wife is exactly who I should be with. However, how are you going to know that?
Well, and it's not like somebody is made for you and they're just going to be, and this is what I think a lot of relationships fail, is because you think that person, and I know this from personal experience, you think that person is yours, right? And it's made for you and it's supposed to be, and this is fate and this is all this crap, right? And then when that fails, then you're like, what the hell? Because it's always going to fail if you look at it like this one is made for me. No, you made a choice to be with this person, and you're going to either be self-aware enough that this isn't going to be perfect, and it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies, but you're willing, because you made the choice, you're willing to work on it. Because that's what people are missing now. They do one couple does something, one of the people in the couple, Jesus, somebody does something wrong, and then it's over. Like, oh, this obviously isn't meant for me. This isn't my fate. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. No,
it's shocking.
Like, oh my God, I was wrong.
Yeah.
No, they're going to mess up. They're going to do things wrong. They're going to step on.
That's it right there. Effort goes out the window when you think like, oh, I met my one.
You met one, exactly.
So effort is out the window, right?
I don't have
fate
to
brought
work.
us together. I ain't got to do anything about it.
I ain't got to work for it.
That is not what the one means.
No, the one means I am choosing you over everyone else that I could possibly choose.
And I have accepted and understand that you make the same decision, and that I am blessed because of that.
And I'm blessed because of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And we're going to work on it. We're going to work on our personalities together. We're going to work on our traits together. And we're going to work on our mistakes together. And we're going to get through this because I chose you and you chose me. Not God made you for me and this is supposed to be perfect.
So now I can just be
I can just be me.
You know what I mean? No.
You is you alone.
You is an evolutionary format that needs to develop and change over time, as we all do, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. I am not who I was when I was 12 years old.
I am not who I was last week.
I was at 20, at 30, or last week, right? If I am not growing, moving, or changing, then I don't know what I'm doing here.
And if you're not willing to grow, move, or change with me,
yeah,
then we're going to have a lot of arguments until either one of us changes and grows, and we still make a decision to grow together, go through all the bullshit, or we make a decision this isn't working out.
But that takes self-awareness and honesty. And that was the biggest thing that happened there in that moment. I was self-aware of where I was at, and I was honest with her and allowed her to just make a decision with no pressure.
Right. God didn't make this decision for
me. Right? God may have brought us together on some level based on me manifesting what I want in a woman is who she is.
Yes.
Was the timing proper? For her, no.
Right.
For me, yes. Because she was exactly what I needed, because when I asked for that, if you can just give me a safe space to be an idiot that is unfair to you,
I love it.
That I will not take it out on you. I am aware it's all about me. I need you to be aware of the same thing. And what I mean by all about me is this is not your problem. I don't need you to fix it. I just need to sit with it in a safe space. That was all I asked for. And it was okay. So the timing worked out because she was able to make her own decision. So when it happened, it was not such a surprise. We all go into this trying to sell each other on some perfect world that doesn't exist for either one of us.
It's like
there's no such thing as stability. I've heard so many, I just need some stability. I know people that have worked for the same company for 20 years and then lost everything because there's no such thing as stability. Or what happened with that is they're so comfortable, they're not planning. I'm always planning. I've always got my next move in my pocket because I know there's no such thing as stability. Right. So I make myself so valuable to the world that doesn't matter what happens at work. I can go replace anybody or do anything or be available for whatever, and I'm willing to do what it takes, even if that means taking a small step back to grow even farther forward. I don't get cocky. I don't get arrogant. I understand my value, and if I got to prove it for a minute, I'll do that. If not, I'll move on to the next.
You said stability. The word that stuck out to me is two words: unconditional love. Right? My love has conditions.
My love's definitely got conditions.
Only things that get unconditional love are women and cats.
Cats, maybe.
Men don't get unconditional love.
And I wouldn't.
I don't want to.
My wife doesn't, and it's not. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's
my
not.
love has conditions.
My love definitely has conditions.
I have a certain way that I would like to live my life. I want you to tell me what your way is, and if we can make this work, awesome.
I hate that unconditional love thing. Like, I love him. It does matter. Like, he's been in prison 3 years out of the 4 years you've been together. He does this, and this. He's, that's not unconditional love. That's codependency, and you're sick and you need some help.
What I don't like about it, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I have a quote.
Okay.
Unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance.
Unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance.
I tolerate you so much. I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the thing is it came from a biblical term, and I would even disagree with that. And so all you people out there that are Bible thumpers, you can get mad at me all you want.
Right.
Even Jesus has conditions. Even God has conditions.
No, there seems to be a lot of commandments.
There's a lot of conditions. The greatest part about it is the ultimate forgiveness, and that has kind of messed with reality in relationships. Is like, well, what kind of Christian man are you, or what kind of Christian woman are you? Because I won't let my wife go screw someone else and just forgive her? Are you out of your ever-loving mind? That is not okay. I am not going to do that.
Well, a lot of people can.
Period.
A lot of people can.
They choose to, and typically the resentment catches up.
I choose to. You choose not to.
Most of the people that are not, you're absolutely right. Most of the people in the history of me dealing with relational coaching is that people want to accept it in the hope that it'll make everything okay, but they haven't actually forgiven.
Well, that's the difference between like forgiveness is one. Okay, say a relationship breaks up, right? Splits up, marriage splits up because of whatever. Maybe it's cheating, maybe it's whatever. Mm-hmm. Like the act of forgiveness is for you. Right? It's not like I forgive
1,000%.
It's not like I forgive you so we can get back together. No. It's you're gone. I'm done. And I forgive you because I don't want to live with that resentment. I don't want to live with that hate. Because having resentments does nothing to the other person. It doesn't hurt the other. Most of the resentments I had in my life, the other person wasn't even aware of it.
Most of the time, they're not.
They're not, and it ate at me. It ate me up. It made me bitter and angry, and you know all the other things that come with that. Right. So forgiveness is about you forgiving a person so that you can move forward and not dwell in it, not have the resentment, not have the hatred, and not carry it to your next relationship, whether that be friendship, your friends, you know, a resentment because your friend stole off you or did something with your wife or girlfriend or whatever. That's not about, you know, them forgiving them so they feel better.
Yep.
You forgive them so you feel better.
Yep.
You know, and that's forgiveness for me. That's what it is.
The whole unconditional love is a fantasy.
I unconditionally love my cats. That's about it.
I don't. Your cats are cool, but
they could do no wrong.
If they ran outside right now and disappeared.
Dude, my cat. I got a cat that likes to come in my office and take a little poo. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why.
That sounds amazing.
He just started doing it.
Give me 2 of them.
Hey, I likes to poo right over there by Chris, where Chris sits.
You're welcome, Chris.
There might be a poo over there. I don't know, Chris.
It's so many people carry around these resentments and these things, and again, it's a self-awareness. Like, you're not being honest. I am not going to carry a resentment for anybody. Period.
I know. I've always had issues. I've wanted to be mad at somebody or resent somebody, and I just I don't know. I'm built different, and I don't know what that is. I've just never been able to hold a grudge on people, even people that's done me completely wrong. It's just there are a couple people that I've been able to do that with, but majority of people, like I said in the last podcast or whatever it was, you could punch me in the face and I wouldn't even remember it tomorrow.
I tried it once. I tried forgiving a girl for cheating on me once. Most of the time, it was like, psh, done later. I'm out. Like, that's it. Nope. Well, if you didn't get it, you're not going to get it. I'm out. Like,
well, that's different than forgiveness, though, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
You don't have to tolerate it.
I have tried to just forgive and move on,
and be with that person,
still,
gotcha,
right?
Gotcha.
That just bit me in the face because I believe in that moment I was trying it and it wasn't truthful. I wanted to do it. I was trying to do it, but the truth of it was it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
As much as I was okay with the reality of it, it just kept happening after that.
Yeah, and then there's that. That's a whole.
You know, it was like I made it okay once, and you just kept running down the fence. Like, cool. So now it's like I've done it once. How can I not do it twice? You know what I mean? And now I just feel like I'm sharing you with half the world. You guys are welcome, by the way.
Just running down the fence, he said.
You know what I mean? Like, just giving out all the cat, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Jesus.
What I just
fence post and all.
With this whole self-awareness thing, and what I'm hoping people gather from this is that you don't know what other people are thinking, so stop trying to act like you do and stop pretending like you do. And that's what I gather from a lot of these comments is most women aren't like that, or you're more self-aware than everybody. Like, you don't know what other people are thinking, period.
Who gives a
I don't care if you have data that backs up 19 conversations. In a year from now, that conversation could and more than likely will be different. So stop acting like you know. That's the biggest problem with self-awareness is we're basing it off of other people, not ourselves.
That's the thing too. Like everything you just said is blaming, is playing the victim, right? The only person you should blame, and if you got in a toxic relationship, if you got into drugs or alcohol, if you got into jail or whatever, all the negative things that could happen to somebody, if you look at it as the other person's fault, you're not going to ever grow that way. And I set a default mechanism for me is, and I struggle with this with my relationship because she's always wrong, but default mechanism for me is, everything is my fault. Everything that goes wrong in my day is my fault. Why do I do that? Is because if it's my fault, I can fix it. If it's someone else's fault, I can't do nothing about it. And I can move on and kick that person out of my life, which I do often, and I can do often. But if I look at things as my fault, now and that's even in a relationship, right? If you want to, you talk about this often, scorekeeping. If you want to, and I know 90% of everything is Jess's fault, right?
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
But I'm going to go into it like, hey, you know what? This is my fault. I apologize. Why? Because I don't want to be right all the time. I want to be happy.
So you're lying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 100. You got to lie in a relationship.
Got it. So now we're lying. Sweet.
You have to lie in a relationship. You have to just take all the fault. You take all the punches. You know why? Because you're a man. All right. Be a man. Step up. Take the punches and move on.
Or.
It's
not about
you want to know about relationships?
It's not
Talk
about
to me.
fault.
I am the guru.
It's not your fault.
No, everything's my fault.
It's not her fault.
Ask her.
No one is at fault. We are struggling in the moment. We both love each other, and that's where people make the mistakes. It's all your fault, or it's all whose fault?
It's mine.
Says who?
Me, because it makes it easier to get through the argument. Like, babe, it's my fault.
This is why after every podcast, I usually spend a half hour coaching these two. Unpaid, by the way.
Checks in the mail, babe. Checks in the mail.
It's definitely lost then.
Anywho, no, seriously though, guys, like if fault or not, that's just wordplay, really. I mean, but if you would just look at things and say, you know what, I can fix this because I made the mistake and I can fix this, right?
It is not my fault, but what do I take responsibility for?
Okay,
That doesn't mean it's my fault.
That's like I said, wordplay.
What do I take responsibility for in this moment? Yes, we are miscommunicating. You want to fix that? Take a love language quiz. Start to really understand your partner's love language, and things will dynamically shift.
Something's wrong with you. You're such a... Chris, we do something with this dude, man. Take a love language. Have a good relationship.
No. I do this with people at work. You want to know why? Because there's a struggle in communication at work right now. In order to communicate better with someone, if you understand how they receive love, affirmation, acts of service. You know what I mean? Like, we could go down the list of 5. Mine, personally, is words of affirmation. So if
that's why every time you show up, I'm like, hey, Brian, you're amazing. What's going on? You look great.
If my wife wants to end a fight, she can gaslight me for 30 seconds and it's over. Over. Now, hers is quality time, physical touch. They're very close to each other. So I know if something is getting out of pocket and we are just completely going on 2 different directions.
You take your shirt off.
No, I just need to stop talking and ask, can I just have a hug for a minute? Because I love you.
While you're taking your shirt off.
Yes. And that usually ends everything very quickly. But that physical touch calms everything down, and I know that. And I'm not using her for that. I know what works. I know we're not getting anywhere.
In a way, you're manipulating the situation.
Yes.
Okay. Glad we broke that down. He manipulates it. I lie. Everything is good. That's how you do a successful relationship.
I'm aware of what's happening, and I'm using the tools available. And I encourage her to do the same.
I get it.
If she needs to gaslight me for 30 seconds to get me to calm down and shut up, do it. Please.
Manipulate me.
Manipulate the crap out of me to get me back, because we lose sight of reality when we fight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Everybody get 10 minutes into it, and I'm like, what are we talking about?
Everybody does that.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Now we're just trying to prove a point. I've got my chest puffed up. She's got hers. I'm trying to see who's got bigger boobs. It's like, what's happening right now?
At that point, you're just trying to win the argument.
Right.
And that's why I go back to, I'd rather be happy than right. And a lot of times you can't be both. You know what I mean?
Most of the time you can't be both.
Yeah, no. So
if you want to be happy, it's not about right. It's about communicating, loving each other, but you can't do that without being self-aware. And that's the point we're trying to prove today.
Good show, man, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Share it out with your friends.
Marty
tell
needs another nap.
Please tell Brian he looks great in that shirt. We'll see you guys next week. Love you.
Y'all.